Bombshell tonight in the investigation of the death of a young man, Nolan Wells. Death threats are flying. One actually says there's going to be blood, so much blood. Another death threat says, don't go outside. How can anybody do their jobs when they're getting death threats? Not only that, we understand this case is headed to a grand jury. We also learned tonight that the state's autopsy is complete, but is being kept secret. Isn't an autopsy a public document? Why is it being kept hidden from us, the public? What is in that autopsy, the first autopsy of Nolan Wells? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
The young lady, Katie, that he was hanging out with, I saw a text message from her alluding to the fact that she never saw him get on that boat at all. They could have been saying, don't die, or is it dead, referring to the bilge pump. Somebody would have seen something if there was a dramatic commotion like this occurring on that boat.
I hope Nolan Wells died by accident. I'm not shutting down our Crime Stories investigation until I know.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the f*** up! What'd you say?
You know, if that sound is real, there's no getting away from that. And all this business about there's no connection, well, I listened to a good 40 seconds of SETO, S-E-A, second word T-O-W, on hold, listened to their music. There was plenty good connection, but before I can even get to the death threats of blood, so much blood everywhere, and don't step outside, and more, before I can even get to the grand jury, before I can get to the autopsy that's being kept hidden from us, I want you to meet someone very important, critical to this investigation. Her name, Janetta Brantley. Miss Brantley is the audio engineer who enhanced the 911 call, the SETO call, in the Nolan Wells case. So everybody claiming some ding-dong on YouTube did it, or somebody on Insta or TikTok did it, no. She did it. I've spoken to her. I've read her statement. I want you to judge her credibility. Credibility is normally the sole province of a jury, and tonight you serve in that function. Miss Brantley, I'm sure that you're getting all sorts of abuse, threats, and so forth. It's a cacophony that seemingly won't cease. That said, thank you for being with us tonight. Explain to me where you got the audio, how you got the audio, and what, if anything, you did to enhance the audio.
First and foremost, I basically downloaded it off of YouTube from WLOX News.
Today, we are here to enlist the public's help to identify potential victims of what we believe to be a sinister and far-reaching romance scam. That's how the FBI began their public appeal, a simple request. But beneath those formal words sat something else entirely. Imagine a casino floor in Las Vegas. Thousands of cameras, security personnel, watchful eyes everywhere. A woman walks through the crowd, and nobody notices her. She's looking for lonely men. She's looking for money. And she's looking for the perfect moment to strike.
Okay, what's going on? What's up? Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the up! David, Bart? of porn, and our Doge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hello! Shut the up! David Bart? David Bart? David Bart?
Back to Janetta Brantley joining us tonight, and
His dog was barking, and on his father's laptop, Mike found odd purchases, items his father would never buy. Dyer bags, a motorcycle, all charged to John Wien's accounts. It looked like fraud. But when agents started digging, they found something worse. They found a pattern. And that pattern led them across the border to another missing person, a man named Robert Urbach, a stagehand who'd worked for Dolly Parton and Pink Floyd.
Or identify a crime or even point the fingers at anybody. I believe I wanted it to be an accident. I think a lot of us wanted it to be an accident. So when I heard those things, when I heard, damn it, Bart, that name stood out to me because I hadn't even heard that name before. As I was listening to certain things that stood out to me, I was in disbelief because, again, I'm just an audio engineer. I'm not an investigator or detective or anything like that. So when I heard a name that I wasn't familiar with, it stood out to me. And that alone made me want to hear what was immediately said after, damn it.
That report was for a man named John Wiens. His son Mike couldn't reach him. The neighbors noticed his door was cracked open.
These statements, and I think that probably from a medical legal perspective, that is the coroner and the medical examiner are going to want to be able to fully appreciate what is being said here from a timeline. This is absent the police's investigation. They're going to try to rule in or rule out what they're seeing presenting on Nolan's remains when they finally did receive them at the state medical examiner's office and that examination began. And this is going to be critical and key, because the causal effects here are going to be critical. We go back to these changes that the second autopsy referred to on the back of the head. Now, the doctor was not able to, at that point in time, even though he did do a thorough, what's referred to as a layered dissection here, he could not establish the causal effects here because the injury or the insult that you see there, this presentation, is compromised by decomposition. So what did the state medical examiner see? My problem is here, Nancy, how was the body treated before or after the first autopsy and the body is transported up to D.C.? I have questions about this because they're talking about to the degree with which the body was decomposed. The doctor up in D.C. is seeing significant decomposition. We don't know what they saw in Mississippi, but I do know that you're only talking about what, and I'm ballparking here, please.
He later told investigators that he woke up briefly, groggy, while she was shoving more pills down his throat. He was held in his own home for 5 days. When he finally escaped, he was so disoriented he crashed his car on the way to the hospital. He survived. He lost his savings account, his iPad, his iPhone, and she tried to liquidate $3.3 million of his stock. But he survived. The FBI says that's because she learned from her mistakes. If the victim lived, they could talk. They could testify. So the next time, she made sure she didn't leave witnesses.
We have obtained, let's see it. Look how tightly everyone is packed in. There were hundreds of people out on Horn Island on July the 4th. What, nobody saw what happened to Nolan Wells? They all just left with him standing there stranded, waving his arms like Gilligan? That did not happen. Now that you're seeing this, what is an innocent explanation? I'm trying to figure that out. Joining me, and I'll circle back to you, Joe Scott, because I got a lot of questions regarding the way he could have done
pensions, savings accounts, Social Security. Then she would appear in their lives as the answer to their loneliness. She was attractive, charming, bilingual. She knew how to mirror exactly what they were looking for. She'd meet them for lunch, go on dates, build trust.
You can see that I have the CTO channel completely muted, so we're only listening to the callers. Then I go through and simply raise the volume of all of the chatter we hear at the beginning of the call.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the f*** up! Damn it, Bart.
Susan, that was enhanced by my producer, Sydney. I know her like that. I asked her, enhance it the best you can. She, again, has no interest in the outcome of this case. She pulls up, quote, want me to cover him up? I mean, Susan, weigh in.
I was listening to the enhanced version, both of them now, not doctored, by the way. There's a big difference there. Have you ever heard, Nancy, on Instagram where you listen to two things and your mind goes to what you're thinking of, like green car or moon boat?
He was making crabby frays in Lake Chapala. He had a girlfriend. He told his friends. He was smitten. Then he stopped answering.
Who's breathing?
Yes, when I first heard that, Tesla, I thought, I've never heard a dispatch say, who's breathing? What? Did she hear all that in the background and do nothing? Or did she hear it and say something and release it? We don't know, man. We got to paper everybody with subpoenas to get to the bottom of this, but I want to go to George Olivo and everybody on the panel. You're experts in your own right. Please tell me if you want to jump in. Please, I'm not clairvoyant. To George Olivo joining us. He's a former FBI special agent and polygraph examiner at georgeolivo.com. Okay, George, listen to what Officer Tatum told me. Back to Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph. And from what